welcome to Comcast NewsMakers. We're here in Santa Fe, New Mexico, next door to the Roundhouse of Rio Chama, and we have a special guest with us. We are honored to have Lieutenant Governor John Sanchez here with us. Good morning.
Good morning, good to be with you.
How are you?
Yeah, great, thank you.
So how's everything going up at the Roundhouse with the legislative session this year?
Well, as always, Erin, 60-day session, things really start to happen the last couple of weeks, and now a short 2 weeks into the end of the session, we're cautiously optimistic that some of the bills that the governor and I, along with other, we think, pro-business, reform-minded leaders in New Mexico are really pushing to make sure that the future of our state looks bright.
Right, so what are some of those top priorities for you and the governor right now?
Well, the governor and I have made a commitment. We did 4 years ago, and now that we're reelected, we'll continue with trying to diversify New Mexico's economy. We understand that if New Mexico is going to compete with not only states around us, but any state around the country, we're going to have to diversify our economy and make New Mexico an easier place to do business. So right to work is a very important priority for not only the governor and I, but others in the legislature who would like to see that that bill passed, that we could attract better jobs, move the state forward, and I think provide a better opportunity for New Mexico's future.
Right, and right to work, would you say that's been one of the most controversial bills this session?
Well, it really has. It's there's a lot at stake here. People who believe that if New Mexico is going to compete, as I said, New Mexico should have a right to work law. There's others. Obviously, the unions are in tremendous opposition to right to work, but we think Democrats and Republicans, both and independents across New Mexico, really see this as something that should pass. The majority of New Mexicans believe, both whether you're a Democrat or Republican, that New Mexico should be a right to work state.
Right. And this session has probably been one of the most partisan sessions I've personally ever seen. Do you think that is affecting a lot of the bills coming through?
Well, for the first time in 60 years, we have two chambers that are led by different parties. The Republicans took control of the House of Representatives, and of course the Democrats still control the New Mexico State Senate. So you're going to see a continuation of a different philosophy, different attitudes. Hopefully, though, at the end of the day, we can do what's right for all New Mexicans and come together. I've always said I'm a good Republican, but I'm a better New Mexican.
Right,
Yeah.
and I'm an optimistic person, but let's say there's some legislative issues that don't get passed this year. Are you going to keep working on it?
Absolutely.
Right.
The governor and I have said we're in this for the long term, and what we mean by that is not politically, but if we're going to transform New Mexico. 103 years we've been a state, and we have great potential, but we have to realize that potential and do things different in New Mexico. And I think New Mexicans are ready for that. So whether you're a business owner, you're a parent who sees education as a challenge in our state, and for those who would like to make sure that our kids don't have to leave New Mexico to find opportunity, we're going to continue to fight to make sure that our state not only creates good jobs, educates our kids, but provides an environment where people can stay here, we can invite others to move to our state, and that New Mexico shouldn't be the best kept secret across the country. Right.
And on the education front, what is the top priority?
Well, obviously the governor and I have been pushing hard to make sure that we have to end social promotion, which simply means, look, that every New Mexico child, by the time they go from 3rd grade or 4th grade, should learn how to read.
Yeah.
That's pretty common sense, right?
Right.
Because data will show, Erin, that if a child knows how to read, then they can learn for the rest of their life. They have a better chance of staying in high school, graduating. Whether they go on to college or prepared to go to the workforce, we know that the data shows that teaching kids how to read is critical. It's cornerstone to our children's education, so that's a big part of our education reform. Also, for the first time in 4 years, the New Mexico State Senate finally allowed the governor's choice for education secretary to come to a vote, and when it finally got out of the committee process, I like to think of it as the political process, and given the vote for all 42 state senators to vote on her confirmation. She's now confirmed.
That was huge.
It was, yeah.
And as Lieutenant Governor, can you kind of tell us a little bit about what you do? Because some people might come in the Senate chambers and see you and be like, wow, that's the Lieutenant Governor. What's he doing down there?
Well, I'm president of the New Mexico State Senate while we're in session. Obviously acting governor when Susana Martinez is out of the state. But other than that, I serve on many different boards and commissions. And by constitution, I am the state's ombudsman. And people say, well, what does that mean? Well, really, I'm the ambassador for New Mexico. Part of my job is to help people interact with state government. So whether it be a small businessman who can't get a business license because there's a bureaucrat holding it back, one of my most rewarding things that I do is help that person navigate through state government. I also represent New Mexico at the National Lieutenant Governors Association. So I'm the chairman of the International Committee. And I travel outside of the U.S. representing not only the association, but New Mexico as well, looking for opportunities for people to come to New Mexico and invest.
Well, that's great. We do definitely need more business here in New Mexico. So thank you for all you do. Now, let's talk a little personal. So where are you from, first of all?
Yeah.
New Mexico.
Born and raised in Albuquerque. I can trace my family roots, Erin, going all the way back hundreds and hundreds of years. I like to say that before the Pilgrims came close to Plymouth Rock, my family was in this part of the United States hundreds of years prior to that.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's
and
amazing.
my great-grandfather was a territorial legislator 50 years before New Mexico even became a state. So I have a proud tradition of public service in our state.
That's great.
Yeah.
And speaking of public service, what are your future plans? The governor has another 4 years. You have another 4 years as lieutenant governor. Where do you see yourself after that?
I'm really concentrating on now. Whatever
Okay.
the future holds, that's fine. I'm committed, though, for whatever role that I play in helping our state succeed. I'm a longtime business owner. I've been in business for over 30 years. I understand what it is to need a job. I understand what it is to create jobs. And I think if I can be helpful in making our state go forward, helping create opportunity, and really inspiring people to say, look, if the lieutenant governor who grew up in absolute poverty, youngest of 8 kids, no dad till I was 8 years old, worked hard, really lived the American dream, was successful not because I was special, but because we took advantage of what I like to call the American dream.
Yeah.
If you work hard, do the right thing in this country, you can make it.
Right. Well, thank you for all you do for this state, and we look forward to seeing what you do in the future. So,
Thanks for having me.
thank you. We're here in New Mexico, Santa Fe at the Roundhouse, and that concludes Comcast Newsmakers for today. I'm Erin Muffoletto. See you next time.